Hello, this is Brandon Ivey. I'm going to start calling myself Bitcoin Brandon. That's going to be my new handle, Bitcoin Brandon. Brandon Ivey here with some more Bitcoin cryptocurrency news. We're going to take a trip to the past. How far back? We're going to go back to June 20th, 2011. And there's a reason why I'm doing this, because I'm going to show you another article from Forbes 6 years later of what they're saying. So 6 years ago, June 20th, 2011. The title is "So That's the End of Bitcoin Then." Now, why would they say that? Bitcoin just got started in 2009. So we're talking about 2 years later, this article was written. It says, or at least this looks like it's the end of Bitcoin. Now here's why. It said the Bitcoin community faced another crisis on Sunday afternoon, and the price of the currency on the most popular exchange, mt.gox, fell from $17 to pennies in a matter of minutes. So first and foremost, since 2009, it went from $0 to $17 per coin. Well, it dropped to pennies in a matter of minutes. Trading was quickly suspended, and visitors to the homepage were redirected to a statement blaming the crash on a compromised user account. Mark Karpeles said that the exchange would be taken offline to give administrators time to roll back the suspect transactions. So, since I began writing this, it has emerged that details of more than 60,000 users have been stolen. The comprised information includes hashed passwords. So let's see, what else do they say here? It says Bitcoins aren't secure, as both the recent theft and this password problem show. They're not liquid, nor a store of value, as the price collapse shows. And if they're none of these things, then they'll not be a great medium of exchange. Wait, hold on. Let's read that again. They're not liquid, nor a store of value, as the price collapse shows, and if they're none of those things, then they'll not be a great medium of exchange, either, as who would want to accept them? True, Bitcoin does still offer anonymity, but then so do copper sheets to cow wire shells via butter, salt, gold, silver, and even pieces of paper with dead presidents on them. It's difficult to see what the currency has going for it. This was Forbes 2011. If you read this article, you might, oh, wow, that's the end of the Bitcoin. I better go ahead and, sell off everything I can right now. Let's fast forward. So now look at this date, July 7th, 2017. Meet the man traveling the world on $25 million of Bitcoin profits. Now, wait. Hold on one second. July 7th, 2017. The first article, June 20th, 2011. 6 years later. I thought Bitcoin died. I thought that there was no value to it. Forbes, again, meet the man traveling the world on $25 million in Bitcoin profits. Just like that, Smith had landed upon a windfall of 2.3 million. Actually, that's a tweet like this. Let's go further. Last month, I found myself sitting next to a multi-millionaire in the 56th floor Horizon Club lounge of the island Shangri-La, Hong Kong. He made no attempt to hide the fact that he was swimming in cash. I just wouldn't have guessed he had made it all from Bitcoin. This is how he did it. Mr. Smith, who asked me to conceal his real name, has been traveling the world in ultra-luxurious style for the past 4 years. He only flies first class, stays exclusively in 5-star suites, and hasn't cooked since Thanksgiving. In the past 30 days, he's visited Singapore, New York City, Las Vegas, Monaco, Moscow, back to New York City, Zurich, and now Hong Kong. Never a dull moment. He says lifting his glass of champagne and a Gatsby-esque salute. Then he shared his story. After finishing college in 2008, Smith landed a respectable job as a software engineer for a large technology company in Silicon Valley. He was a good employee, close with many of his coworkers. It was through one of these equally geeky friends in July 2010 that Smith first heard about Bitcoin, shortly after its first major price increase, when the cryptocurrency appreciated tenfold from 0.008 to 8 cents over the course of 5 days. Smith's response, though intrigued, was measured. That price jump really got my attention. but I still waited a few more months before investing. I wanted to learn more about the underlying technology first. By October 2010, Smith was ready to jump in. I had no idea how much to invest, but I was getting paid pretty well at the time, so I decided on $3,000. He paid just over 15 cents per Bitcoin, giving him slightly under 20,000. At the time, expecting any sort of return was a moonshot. Even in Silicon Valley, simply mentioning Bitcoin was enough to raise eyebrows. The cryptocurrency hummed along fairly quietly, and though Smith would check on the price every couple of months, he assures, I knew from
if you're under the age of 40,
I knew from the very start that I was playing the long game. I wanted to see how high it could go. For the next 3 years, Smith worked his day job and largely forgot about his investment until Bitcoin's price leaps started making more mainstream news in 2013. I couldn't believe how quickly it was appreciating, says Smith, speaking very quickly now. It started rising by 10% or more every day. I was nervous and excited and terrified and confused all at the same time. When the price hit $350, more than 2,000 times what he paid for it, Smith sold 2,000 of his early stock. When the price hit $800 just days later, he sold 2,000 more. Just like that, Smith had landed upon a windfall of $2.3 million. It was absolutely insane, he says. I quit my job and left on a round-the-world trip the following week. Just then, Smith's girlfriend, a London-based photographer who accompanies him on about half of his travels, joined us. He's constantly talking about Bitcoin, she said, shaking her head. If he starts talking about it, he'll never stop, ever. We'd be on the topic for over an hour at this point, but my curiosity was far from satiated. I urged Smith to show me some proof to back up his claims. After all, he could just be a smooth talker with some family money to vaunt. After going through several rounds of security checks on his iPhone and requesting that I hand him my phone at the same time, NFC scares me more than it should. He turned it to me with his Bitcoin wallet exposed. Lo and behold, I saw what he had promised, a balance of 1,000 BTC, worth 2.6 million as of this writing. Everything checked out. Here was a man who had truly become filthy rich from Bitcoin, the proverbial Bitcoin millionaire. You know, that's a term we're going to start to hear, not just with Bitcoin, but cryptocurrency millionaires. Where did the rest of his 20,000 Bitcoins go? Smith walked me through a series of recent sell-offs because, as he says, excessive speculation has pushed the price to an unsustainably high level. It was clear that he had a lot of thoughts on the notion of a current price bubble, but I decided to push for what I was really curious about instead. How much has he profited from Bitcoin overall? The answer came without any hint of hesitation or arrogance. 25 mil, give or take. 25 million from an initial investment of 3,000. Those are the sort of returns that make a Bitcoin millionaire. Of course, Smith still owns 1,000 Bitcoins, which he plans to sell when the price reaches 150,000. A millionfold appreciation from his original buy-in price. I really do think it will get there, he says confidently, but a lot of governments and companies will have to be on board first. No amount of speculation in the world will push it that high. When I asked Smith why he chose to sell when he did, and whether he'll feel remorse if the price jumps tenfold again, he shakes his head. I have everything I've ever dreamed of now. I fly all over the world visiting friends. I do whatever I want with my time, and I never have to worry about money for the rest of my life. I'd be an absolute fool not to cash out now. Smith is the epitome of new money. A millennial millionaire with no reservations about flaunting his wealth. It's been 4 years since he left his regular life in Silicon Valley behind, and in that span he's been traveling nonstop. Even still, I have a strong feeling that whether he's got millions in the bank or not, Smith will never find himself without a place to sleep. If you can bring entertainment to people's lives, you become special. And once you've built up that level of social capital, no matter how much money you have, you can always rest easy knowing friends will invite you over, serve you dinner, and sit down on the couch to listen to your stories. I think this is absolutely phenomenal, and we're still at the beginning here. Forbes went from one case saying that this was a dead industry to 6 years later, they're talking about Bitcoin millionaires. Get educated. Bitcoin Brandon out.